All right, y'all, it is 2021, a new year. A lot of us got that new stimmy. Stimmy always makes me laugh. So let's talk about how as producers, we can turn that stimulus from $600 into thousands. Let's get into it. Let's get busy. All right, y'all, welcome back. My apologies for the slow end of year. For those who don't know, I did go live in December and I explained I'm actually going through a process of moving. We're actually selling our house and my environment is probably gonna change a little bit going forward. In the meantime, I wanted to hit y'all with some videos before I end up moving. And I wanted to add some new types of content to this channel where I'm talking about some of the ways that I like to hustle as a producer, as a content creator, and generate more income and basically turn my producing passion and my music passion into earned income that I can use to kind of support my habits. So we all love gear, right? We love buying the newest stuff that comes out, and a lot of times we're coming out of pocket with it. And I wanted to talk to guys who are kind of still in that hobby phase or kind of starting out in the business phase and really haven't taken care of things all the way. I wanted to talk to you about some ways that I could take that $600 stimulus and flip it into thousands of dollars. Maybe not right away, but over the course of a few months or even a year, and really make that into an investment and not just spend it or kick it back into something that's kind of like a passion purchase. So let's go ahead and get into the first part and probably the most accessible way that you as a producer, if you're not doing it already, can start generating some income with your craft. And that's gonna be by getting your music business together. Now, what do I mean by getting your music business together? Well, for one, it's gonna be making your business official. And how do you do that? It's pretty easy. You basically go to this website, which I'll leave the link for here, and you're gonna fill out that form. You're gonna choose the business type that you want. It can be a sole proprietorship, which means, it's just you use your own social security number. It can be a partnership if you have partners. I'm not really the biggest fan of partners. I've done it before. It's not a lot of fun, in my opinion. I think every artist and every creator should have their own business. Even if you partner with another person or another producer, have your businesses do the partnership and not your person. And maybe we'll get into that a little bit later when we're talking about entities and things like that. All right, so registering your business and getting a name, getting an EIN, and an EIN is basically like a social security number for your business. It kind of turns your business into a new person or a new entity in the eyes of the government. It's kind of like creating, I don't want to say like a fake person, but it's creating an entity that can get its own credit. It'll have its own taxes, things like that. So when you're creating a business entity, it basically is just gonna kind of get some distance between you and the business. And there's a lot of benefits to that. Not really time to get into it in this video, but if I was going to do it, and what I have done is I would create an LLC. The money's gonna come into play when you go to register it with your state. Usually every state has a registration fee. The federal government, to get an EIN, there is no charge to get an EIN, but if you want to register with your state and conduct business within your state in an official capacity, you're going to want to register with your state. I'm actually in Georgia, and here to register our business, it's $100 to do an LLC. So taking that $100, making the business official, getting an EIN for it where I can start building up the credit for that business. All right, so once the business is registered, as producers, what we don't always think about is our publishing. And when we start putting music out, making sure that we're collecting royalties and things like that on the back end, whether we're doing collabs with artists or putting out our own projects on like Spotify, Apple Music, DistroKid, those types of things. All of those things generate streaming income and a few different types of streaming income. So of course you're gonna get your regular streaming income once people start playing your songs. That'll start coming in from like your Spotify account, your DistroKid account, but there's also mechanical royalties and things like that. And if you're producing tracks for artists, you wanna make sure they're putting in either your ASCAP or BMI information. And that is the second thing that I would do with my stimulus money is go ahead and get my ASCAP or BMI, my publishing situated. Now you want to get it situated as an artist, as a composer first. Go ahead and register yourself as an individual. That's going to be your writer's credit, your mechanicals for your writer's credit and things like that. But you also want to register as a publishing company. So I'm also going to leave links to that. I'll go ahead and put that down here. And depending if you get ASCAP or BMI, it's going to be a little different pricing. But these are lifetime memberships. It's not something you have to pay for all the time. It's a one-time investment, and you're gonna be a member for life, all right? And what's cool about that is every song that you put out, even if you're just producing someone else or you're co-writing a song or you kind of co-produce the song. What's dope about it is as long as that song is selling online or any type of sales whatsoever, you're gonna get kickback royalties as long as that song is out there doing its thing. So if you're kind of looking to get some of that mailbox money that comes in, might not be a lot at first. You know, you might make a $5 check, a $20 check, a $100 check every few months or so. But when you add it up and you talk about how much you're investing to get started with your ASCAP or BMI or CSAC, basically your PRO, which is called Performing Rights Organizations, when you get that set up, you're setting yourself up for long-term income. So even if you just drop a couple songs, you're gonna see that income coming in, even if it's just change over a long amount of time. But if you're active and you're actually putting songs out, and say for instance, you have artists that you don't want to charge up front for beats, don't recommend that. It's always good to get some money up front. But if there's some artists you just genuinely want to back, even if it's yourself, go ahead and get this set up. And when you drop it on your distribution channels, like your DistroKids or TuneCore, you're gonna go ahead and put this information in there, and you'll start seeing money pour into that as the months progress. All right, and also in keeping with that, we're still only looking at maybe about a $250 to $300 investment once you've done those two things, right? So that still leaves you with a couple $100. Now, the next thing I would recommend to do is start a DistroKid account or some type of distribution company. Now, the cool thing with DistroKid is it's $20 a year. You can get higher level packages. You might want to spring for the extra perks. It'll probably be worth it. But what that's going to enable you to do is basically upload as many songs as you want throughout the course of a year. You do have to renew it every year, so it's $20 a year. But the dope thing about it is now you can put your own songs out. You don't need a record label. Even if you don't hit any major playlists or anything like that, you just kind of put it out. Instead of having those beats or having those songs sitting on your hard drive, they're out in the world, they're generating income, even if it's not a ton. But if you really get focused and you're putting out dope work, people are gonna find it and they are gonna listen to it, and you are gonna generate some streaming revenue. Now, a lot of people might think because you don't have a whole bunch of money to invest in promotion that you're not gonna see any money. And that's not always true. If you just start plugging away on social media, just start sharing your links in different ways, and who knows, somebody might even discover you who has a platform. And there's a lot of ways you can kind of get free promotion and kind of barter service with other content creators that'll kind of boost your profile. But the bottom line is there's almost no way you won't make your return back on investment if you do those three things. So just to recap, we're talking about getting your LLC registered with the federal government, with getting an EIN, then registering with your state, which is where the first cost comes in, getting your publishing company registered with ASCAP or BMI, CSAC, Performing Rights Organizations, and then fourth, putting out music. So that's one way to take $600 and start generating some revenue with it. And if you're a producer who likes putting out music, or you're looking into putting out music, those are the steps I'm gonna recommend to get started with that. All right, hold up. Real quick, if you guys are getting value out of this video, do me a huge favor real quick. Smash that like button down below. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're really a real one, go ahead and click that bell notification while you're at it. Let's talk about some other ways that I would flip it to turn that $600 into some G's. Now, a lot of people are gonna say, oh, I'll buy new gear. And to be honest with you, there's really no end to how much gear we want as producers. Most of us always find something that we think is gonna improve our sound. And it's true, there is equipment out there that's gonna help you improve and things like that. But to be honest with you, those are usually incremental changes. And the biggest change you can make in your career is to invest in your skills, first of all. But if you have skills already, is investing in your brand, in your marketing, and putting yourself out there as an artist, as a creator more. Now, one thing that I see producers don't really have a lot of, and that's video content. And that's a huge mistake. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a YouTube channel. I do recommend it. And I do recommend some type of video uploads going on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And that's just gonna help you build your brand. And if you did those first steps already, as far as having your music out there, having music published, and you're putting music on these streaming platforms to be discovered, building your brand and your social media is gonna help generate more revenue once you have those things taken care of, because now people are finding you through your social media and finding you through your content outlets. So one good investment that I definitely made a long time ago, and it has paid off tremendously, is buying a camera. Now, when I started about 10 years ago, camera phones were not that good. They were actually pretty trash. But nowadays you can get away with just kind of rigging out your camera phone and making it into a media creation device. And it already is in its own, but there's a couple ways you can kind of make it cooler, make it a little more ergonomic, and get a little more professional results. And rigging it out means just basically adding things like a shotgun microphone or a lapel microphone, giving it a stable platform. Holding a phone like this is not really, the best way to film. You can get it done, but realistically, you probably want to have some type of rig. I'll post a link to a rig that I would use if I was using a phone on a regular basis. This is kind of the cheapest way to get into creating content for yourself, and there's a couple things you can do to improve the quality of your videos. I did a video about improving your audio using your phone. And that's huge. When it comes down to video creating and making stuff for YouTube and stuff for Instagram, your audio is gonna give you a bigger boost in quality than your video, believe it or not. Most cameras look pretty decent on video, but all cameras don't sound good on video. So you definitely wanna take the steps to improve your audio. It's gonna make your overall video production quality better, and it's a major thing to focus on. If you're getting a camera, you don't have to go out and buy, $1,000 cameras. You can usually buy something used or buy something under maybe 500 bucks that's gonna give you a lot of bang for your buck. Sony makes a couple, Canon makes some, Nikon. You really can't lose as far as the brand. Most of the companies that make like professional style or prosumer style cameras now, the quality is phenomenal. So you really can't lose. I'm not gonna sit here and be a stickler about which brand you use. I use Sony, but no, I'm joking. You definitely just want something that's gonna give you a little more professional results if you're looking to kind of build your brand. And again, if you wanna step it up from a camera phone, which you can get it done with, an entry-level mirrorless camera / DSLR is probably gonna be your best bet. And I have one of those in my description. The one that I'm using here is the A6400 from Sony. This one I think is about 800, but you could invest that 600 and add a little more to it out of your pocket and make that investment. But again, not necessary. You can go with like an A6000, something that's 1080p. There's a whole bunch of options out there. I don't have time to get into that in this video, but I would definitely look into some way to improve your visuals. And another benefit that having a good camera will get you is not only the ability to promote yourself, but you can also charge a fee to do photo shoots and music videos for artists, even if they just need quick promotional videos and things like that. It's just an upcharge service you can add to the price of your beats. Or if you have a label or something like that, you can start doing that type of thing for the artists on your label and help promote their projects and increase your revenue on those first steps. Even if it's just an editing app on the phone that you already have, if you have like a decent iPhone or a decent like Samsung or something like that, I have a Google Pixel, I would go ahead and spend $20, $30 on an editing app so you can start editing your videos and getting more professional results. DaVinci Resolve, Sony Vegas, there's just a whole bunch of different platforms you can use. Most of us have computers, we have DAWs and things like that. A lot of times the computers that we have for making music are actually pretty good at editing video and things like that as well. So, I would definitely look into that. And I'm gonna do some more detailed videos about this in the future. Again, second way I would recommend is to step up your brand, step up your visuals. That's another great use of 600 bucks. And the third way I would recommend is something that I've done as well, is get into the merchandise hustle, the merchandise business. Now, why is the merchandise business important as a producer? Well, think about it this way. As a producer, typically, we are involved with artists all the time, right? We have them coming to our studios, recording. We're talking to them on the phone, sending them beats, stuff like that. So a lot of us in our producer community have contacts with artists. We work with artists. We either were one ourselves or we're developing artists and things like that. A lot of times what artists needs is a good branded merchandise business. Now, a lot of you guys know I have the MPC Gang group on Facebook, but I also make apparel for it. And I was able to take equipment that I invested in, actually right around 600 bucks, and turn that into thousands of dollars worth of apparel, whether it was, through the MPC Gang stuff or creating merch for artists. As I'll show you on the screen, I actually design and create merch for artists, and you don't have to be a great designer to get into this business. You can go on sites like Fiverr and things like that. You can hire graphic designers to create logos, create brands. And sometimes the artist already has cool stuff that they've worked on that you can use as graphics for t-shirts, for hoodies, things like that, hats. And you can take these things, put them onto apparel for artists, and make a lot of money. It is a multi-billion-dollar business. And the reason I got into it is because I had a lot of artists coming to me. I was designing logos, doing photography and things like that for them. And I got tired of kind of outsourcing everything and sending it to another business and doing referrals. So I decided to do some of that stuff in-house. And I'm gonna tell you, it's one of the top 3 most profitable ventures I've ever done. With the equipment that I invested in, probably totaled about 600 bucks. That's gonna be my vinyl cutter, my heat press, and my hat press. Just using entry-level equipment, I was able to take a few $100 and turn it into thousands of dollars. Of course, there's some time involved. You have to learn how to do it. It's not that difficult though. There's a lot of tutorials on YouTube. And if you guys want, I can start getting more into my apparel hustle and showing you guys how I make money on that. But it's a huge business. You really can't lose. And there's a lot of good guys out there with channels on YouTube that'll give you great advice and show you how to get into the business. Now you might say, oh, I'm a music producer. I just want to make music. And I understand that. For me, I enjoy being creative in other ways. But one thing I can say is if you take the equipment that you purchase that's related to your music career and you apply it to some of the people that you work with, you're just gonna find new streams of revenue. And if you wanna just sell beats, focus on that. Focus on those first steps that I told you about. Make sure your publishing's right, make sure your company's right and your business is right on that aspect. But again, this last section is if you really wanna kind of get down and offer more services to your clients, to your artist clients, and your connections in the entertainment business, and just kind of create another stream of revenue for yourself, is something that I highly recommend. So I'm gonna leave links in the description to all the equipment that I'm talking about if you wanna get into it. And if you want, leave me some feedback on this video. I'd like to hear what you guys think about it. If there's areas you'd like me to get into more, if there's areas you've been curious about and you want me to kind of do more videos about that, I'd love to hear about that as well. But I am gonna be showing you guys some of the different ways that I generate revenue when beats aren't selling or I'm not really pushing beats, and giving myself a way to buy new equipment because production and music is my passion. But let's be honest, it doesn't always pay the bills, and sometimes it can get kind of slow, up and down. And these are ways that I kind of keep the revenue flowing, using the skills that I have and using some skills that I developed and the connections that I built through my music career. So I appreciate you guys tuning in today. Catch you on the next one, all right? Peace.